Good morning, cubies and newbies. Good morning. I am Sunshine. I am the ABCube tutor. I am the creator of this method. This is Formula A and B. Formula A is 4 moves. Formula B is 8 moves. This is the ABCube method. ABC, ABCube. And here's a sticker I had made. ABCube.how. I want to have, that was just a for position only sticker. I'm going to have them made again with this formula pattern, this icon, the daisy, the flower icon on the 5x5 instead of the iconic melting cube. And we're about to be invaded by a kitty. Come, kitty. I see you. All right, stay there then. Okay. Good morning. How are y'all doing this morning? Everyone have any wonderful weekend plans going on? I was going to get up early and set up my Zoom channel. So if anyone wanted to race with me, we could do that. I could gameplay capture my Zoom channel, and I could see you. That would be fun. All right, but I overslept and did not get up and do that. I haven't signed on, so I forgot my password. I gotta try again. Gotta get into that again before I. So if any of you want to Zoom with me, let me know ahead of time, and I will be happy to set that up. So Formula A is 4 moves, Formula B is 8 moves, and A is used to bring a piece to the top, be it corner or absolute center, or any of your first edge pieces, and B is moved to move 3 pieces around, and everything else. And that is all you need for everything else. And then it's just a matter of learning how to select the piece that's wrong and apply Formula B to that particular piece. And you don't have to memorize which columns do which things, because you just follow the one piece that you're trying to move, and because the mathematics of the cube are basically honest, everything is fine. You do the thing happens. Very few things in my life are as easy to manage as cubes. So, I have my 2, my 3, my 4, my 5, and my 7. I have my double solved mirror cube, and I have my early attempts at solving the cube down here as well, if anyone gets interested in any of those. For example, part of the research I did for creating this is a history of Rubik style cubes. It says, as far as I can tell, the first Rubik's type puzzle was patented by Larry D. Nichols in 1970. There's the U.S. patent number. The 8 cubes were held together by magnets and could be twisted around 3 axes to scramble or solve a 6-sided 6-colored cubes, or it could be pulled apart and reassembled. So what Rubik created was a way to hold the pieces all together. Erno Rubik patented his 3x3x3 cube in 1975. There's the Hungarian patent number. It differed from Nichols' cube in how it internally held itself together. His cube was originally called the Magic Cube. It took Rubik about a month to solve his own invention. The name of the cube was changed to identify its creator. Then the 4x4 was patented by Peter Sebestany in 1982, and by Li Chen Sen in 1998. And it was known as both Rubik's Revenge and the Master Cube. And then the 5x5 was called the Professor's Cube. It was designed by many people due to the differences in its internal workings. Because remember, ideas can be patented only in the specific manifestation of the idea. Some of the inventors are Udo, Krell, Eastsheen, and Pano. I don't know how to say. Somebody there it is. So that was interesting. That was fun to find out. As a kid, when the Rubik's Revenge came out, I thought, oh, I thought Rubik's had invented it because of all of the people who worked around his patent by creating different ways of holding cubes together. So, but I was wrong. Someone asked me how the ABCube method stands up to the CFOP method, and it's crazy with regrips. It's inefficient, but that's my method, and this is their method. So if you've already programmed your brain to memorize algorithms, then that's just fine. This is why mine is geared towards non-cubers, because it certainly is not a speed solve method, and it certainly is not a fewest moves method. What are you doing? I have cats. If you have a cat, you live in a world of mystery. Okay. No one wants to chat. I'm going to scramble. I'm going to play with my 7 by then. If you're new, I should probably walk through the algorithms before I scramble my cube. Walk through the formulas. Formula A, one row. If you hold your cube, look at the front of the cube as if it were a spreadsheet with rows and columns. And regardless of the cube you have, that's what you do. And the arrow represents the single slice that's going to move, and the line represents all of the rest of the cube, all of the lines that you're ignoring, because you're only moving one. Each formula. Formula A is 1 row, 1 column. Formula B is 1 row, 2 columns, and everything else is not moving. So instead of starting with 3 lines and then drawing more lines as the cubes got bigger, I narrowed it down to the 2 so it can be applied to anything and be less confusing. So formula A, bottom row, right column, will move corners around. Actually, no, that's formula B. We'll move corners around. Formula A, we'll switch these 2 pieces. We'll bring this piece to the top, flip it around as you're doing so. And you can, so if that's what you want, and you want that to stay in that position, you can just slide the top, keep it safe, and continue your 6 set of formula A. And again, multiple set of 6, and the rest of the cube it remains unchanged. It only changes the pieces you want to move. If everything is correct with the corners, and the corners are where they want to be but twisted, if you have 2, they're twisted in the opposite directions because of the mathematics of the cube. If you have 3, they're all twisted in the same direction. So this one, if one of them is clockwise, one of them is counterclockwise, or they're all either. If there's 3, they're all clockwise or all counterclockwise, just because of the mathematics of the cube, how that works out. So to twist them back, formula A again is done in groups of 6. So this one is where I want it to be, so I slide it out of the way to keep it safe and continue my 6 set with another cube that wants to be twisted or is okay being twisted. And set of 6 means the rest of the cube is untouched to the top, and you're done. So that's formula A. If you apply it to the middle row and middle column, move the piece away, move the space down, move the piece into the space, and the piece in the space back up again, and it moved this piece here. Formula A always affects all 6 sides, however. So I generally only use it for the center. Again, sorry, hold on. Okay, so to move this up here, we would go out, down, in, up. Okay, so, but it does work on the entirety of one face, which we can only do in the beginning because it changes the rest of the faces. So if you have one face done and use Formula A in any way, it's going to offset the pieces, that face. So everything else is Formula B. Here's what Formula B does. Formula B is 1 row, 2 columns. If that's for every left there's a right, for every right there's a left, for every up there's a down. Every other move is horizontal. Every other horizontal is the reverse of the one before it. So it's a mathematical 0, but what it does is it moves 3 corners around, and only 3 corners. Everything else is fine. So if 3 corners need to move, and I don't have one formula for one algorithm for if I want to move them clockwise, and one for if I want to move them counterclockwise, one for if I want to do opposites. It's just because everything can be done with just the Formula B. So I look at it, and rather than taking time to look at it, because my brain doesn't work that way, rather than looking at it and saying, okay, do they want to move clockwise or counterclockwise, I just do the Formula B, and it's easier for me to do Formula B twice than, if needed, than to figure out which one to use. So that's Formula B for the corners. Formula B for if you want to do an edge, you just pick the edge piece you want to move and determine which direction it wants to be. If I want to move this piece over here, where it's going to land is the first column, and where it begins is the second column. So slide first up, slide second up, and then down and down. And it moved only 3 pieces around. So it's never going to mess up the pieces that you already have in place. So again, if I wanted to move it to the other side, then this would be my first column, and so this would be up, up, down, down. Okay, so that demonstrates how it moves. The way to do it without it, the way to actually place them where they want to be instead of just moving them randomly is you have to have the corners match the front, and then the second color, which is on top, determines which direction it's going to be. So this orange and green is going to land somewhere above the orange and green something corner, not above the orange and blue something corner. So first column, second column, up, up, down, down. Okay. And again, depending on which direction it wants to go, we start by moving it away from the action, and then first up, back, and then our second up. And if you want to move centerpieces around, then you just pick the piece that you're moving, and you follow that piece to determine which of the columns you want to move. So I just pick a piece, I move it to the top. I have to rotate the top so it's in a different column, and for the diagonals, it's important that you pay attention to that, because if you turn it the wrong way, then you're working with only 1 column instead of 2 columns, and that's a good way to re-scramble your cube. So move it to a different column. That's my second column, is wherever that cube is. So I don't have to memorize these 2 columns do this, these 2 columns do this. I just follow the piece that wants to move. Okay, and then set the top. So it looks like 2 pieces moved and only 2 pieces moved, but they did not. 3 pieces moved. Formula B always moves 3 pieces, but if 2 of the cubes are the same color, it can look like only 2 pieces are moving. So you line it up so it's advantageous. There's up, slide to a different column, second up, reverse, down, and it doesn't really matter which direction you go unless you're painting a pretty picture on the front with colors, because if whichever direction you rotate the top, that's the column piece that's going to land in your displaced spot. So that's it. That's my formula. Now let's play. Who's here this morning? Good morning. Good morning. If you have any fun plans for the day, let me know. That's exciting for me to live vicariously through you. I'm going to try to get some more work done on my car. My car doesn't want to pass emissions. My car is an old car. My car was given to me by my son when he got a new car. So it's been around the block. It's been around the sun a few times. And it doesn't want to pass emissions. So I'm going to go do an engine flush and see if that will stop the misfiring. I have no idea how cars work. I don't know anything about them. But, so I'm going to stop by Jiffy Lube and see if I can magically make my car want to pass emissions. Otherwise, I'm going to look out for a new car. I'm in the market to receive a new car. All right, let's scramble. Anyone want to... Anyone want to time me? Anyone want to race me? Okay. Whatever cube you have, every cube has 8 corners. So pick a corner. That corner has 3 colors. Pick one of those colors. For me, it's yellow. And so the cube that I selected was this one. You're going to hold your cube in your hand so that that cube is under your left thumb. And then you're going to look at the front of your cube as if it were rows and columns on a spreadsheet. So that cube that you selected is perfect, it's correct, and you're going to make the rest of the cube match it because that's how powerful you are. You selected the cube, that's the one that's correct. So I check the adjacent corner under my right thumb, and as long as there's my active color is yellow, as long as there's a yellow somewhere on this corner, Formula A is going to bring it to the top. But if there's not, then I have to check, move the cube forward slightly and check the cube underneath it to see if there's a yellow somewhere on this corner. If there's a yellow anywhere on one of these 2 corners, Formula A is going to bring it to the top because it switches these back and forth and twists them as it goes along. So we've established that there's yellow somewhere. So Formula A will bring it to the top. Bottom row, right column. Start by moving the piece away from the action, move the piece space down, move the piece into the space, and the piece in the space back up. And we do that a matter of number of time, X number of times, X being 5 or less, because 6 will get you back to how you started, where you started, because the cube is mathematical. So when my yellow's on top, sorry, camera moved. When my yellow's on top, I slide the top to keep it safe. I keep the cube stable so that I move this piece so it's now under my left thumb, and I continue with the rest of the corner. I'm going to keep doing Formula A until the yellow's on top on all 6 sides. So I look to see if there's a yellow here. If not, I look below, and if not, I rotate if so, then Formula A does it. If not, I rotate the bottom until the answer is yes to there being a yellow in one of these 2 corners, like so, and Formula A brings it to the top. Do 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 do, and there we go. It's on top. Yay! Okay, slide it out of the way to protect it. Continue with my last yellow to bring it to the top. And when the yellow's on top, that's the first step. That's the first goal. And that's done the same way on every cube. So when you have the yellows on top, the next thing to do is check the sides to see if the corners match, the sides match. Blue equals blue, red does not equal green, orange does not equal red, and green does not equal orange. So at this point in time, if you have your yellows on top, either all 4 sides will match, none of them will match, or one of them will match. And if one of them match, that tells us how to hold the cube to go to the next step. But I'm not going to the next step. I'm going to bring my yellows to the top again. Actually, I'm not, because this one's already done. Okay, I'm going to bring the yellows to the top again. Because that's one of my pet peeves, is people who just take a single solve and walk people through that single solve, because that's great if your cube looks like their single solve. But I want to demonstrate all of the ways that it can look, so that hopefully I have a cube that looks like the one in your hands. So I find yellow's on top. I have my yellow corner selected. I look at the corner under my right thumb. It does not have a yellow, and underneath it does not have a yellow. So if it does, Formula A. If it doesn't, rotate the bottom until yes. Okay, and then Formula A will bring the yellow to the top. And just keep doing it until it does. When the yellow's on top, keep the cube stable, slide the top to move it out of the way, and look for a yellow again. No, no, slide the bottom, still no, slide the bottom, yes. Okay, so formula A, we'll bring it to the top. Okay, and slide the top to protect it. And the last, look, bringing the last yellow to the top. Again, if it's here, great. If it's not, look here. If it's not, move until their answer is yes. So, I'm bringing yellows to the top using formula A. Okay, this one has one side that matches. It's the green side, looking only at the corners. This one, here's my yellow. This one does not have a yellow. This one does. So it's the same process regardless of what cube is in your hands. Bring the yellow to the top, slide the top to protect it, continue bringing yellow to the top. And again, do the sides match? One side matches. I was hoping on all of these that we'd have something, a side that doesn't match. So I'm going to do R2, R2 front 2, R2, and just now I have an example where none of the sides match. So let's start with none of the sides matching. If none of the sides match, if all of them are opposite, all of the faces have opposite colors, then either way, whether one side matches, no side matches, if all match, you set it aside and go to the next step. But if any of them want to be moved, it does. If you have a matching color, it faces away. If you don't have a matching color, it doesn't matter which way you hold it. Either way, you're going to do formula B, top row and outside columns, because we're working on the corners. So slide up, slide up, slide down, and oh look, we messed up our yellows. No, we didn't. We moved three pieces around, and now we already know how to bring the yellow back to the top again, so we don't care. So formula A to bring the yellow back to the top, slide to protect it, keep going, slide the top, and now, before we had no sides matching, now if we look, we have one side matching. Okay, with the one side matching, we're going to face that matching side faces away from you. I know words. Just read my mind. And we do formula B to move pieces around and formula A to bring the yellow back to the top. Good morning. Thank you for joining me. We're doing yellow corners right now. We've established that, we just established that if there's no sides that match, it doesn't matter which way you hold it. If there's one side that matches, you hold it facing away from you. Do formula B with the top row and the outside columns. And then formula A to bring the yellows back to the top again. And when yellow's on top, hold the cube stable, slide the top, and continue working with this one. And the reason why I'm particular about that is because the second four corners are done the exact same way as the first four corners, so that I'm not teaching you two different methods. So now all of the sides match, and we can set it aside until we get to the next step. This one matches these orange, faces away. Formula B, slide up, slide down, and A to bring yellow back to the top. Or whatever color you're working on, you can be color neutral. Okay, and when the yellow is back to the top, the four sides match. The matching side is green, holds it away from me, like so. Formula B, slide up, slide down, and then A to bring the yellow back to the top without twisting, without keeping the cube stable. Slide the top, slide, And now that the yellows are back on top, the sides are matching. The sides are happy with each other. One more time. Matching color is blue. Hold it facing away from me. Formula B, top row outside columns. Slide. Up, slide. And when we bring our yellow back to the top, all of the sides will match. So the corners are happy with each other. The corners are correct to each other. And so it doesn't matter what your cube looks like to begin with, because it's the same process. And then with the first four corners done, you can put those face down and work on the second four corners. It's the exact same way we did the first. The exception is that we don't select what our color is for the top. We have to look and see what color wants to be opposite yellow. And it's the color that is common to all four corners, and it's not one of the colors that touch yellow because of the nature of the cube. So it's opposite yellow, they all have a white. So white is our color because it's not red, not blue, not orange, or not green. So but this one has a white, this one has a white, this one has, so they all have white. These are all colored the same way, so we can defend that white's opposite yellow. It's not always. On this cube, opposite yellow is red. Some cubes are colored differently. So white's our color. If any of the whites are already on top, yellow's face down until the white corners are correct. We're ignoring them because they're going to be dancing around as we work with the top four corners, but because this A and B will not affect them, when we're finished with our set, our formulas, they will have repositioned themselves the way they are now. So we don't care that they're dancing around, they're going to be okay. As long as we don't rotate the cube in our process, we just rotate the top row as the top row as defined. So if there's a white on top, this one has a white on top, this one has a white on top, that one has all whites on top, because there might not be. If there is a white on top, I'm going to just keep it there and put it under my left thumb. But if there's no white on top, I just pick any side, any face in any way, and that's where I start. So this one is white. This one has a white on it. I don't have to look to see if they are already established. They all have the white, so I don't have to look around for it. That's the only difference. So formula A will bring the white to the top. The arrow representing the slice that gets moved. When it's on top, slide it to protect it, keep it out of the way. And as long as we have not rotated the cube while we were doing this, our yellows are still happy. Okay, the white's at the top. Yellows are face down. Here's a white, so we're going to keep that one. Formula A to bring in. I demonstrated yesterday how to make a mistake by getting distracted by the other colors of the pieces of the cube you're not working on. If you start looking at the edges while you're working on corners, you start looking at the centers while you're working on edges, you can get confused. As I did on this one. Oh, it was spectacular. Okay, so white's on top. This blue does not equal green. Green does not equal orange. So we have a matching, okay, which is the most likely. So the matching faces away. Actually, not yet. Not doing that. Let's bring the white to the top on all of them first. Okay. This one has two whites already on top. That's fine. So I'm going to bring the white to the top on white camera. So sorry. I need to put a bell on my camera so when it moves. I know. So formula A, bottom row, right column, will bring the white to the top. When it's on top, slide it out of the way to protect it. Keep going until white's on top on all of them. Okay. And then at this point in time, either all of them will match, none of them will match, or one of them matches. And most often, it's one side matches. So, matching side faces away. And formula B. slide up, slide down, and we just move 3 cubes around. Formula A to bring our color back to the top, and when we finish this, the sides will be correct one to another. Okay, and then set the top as to match the bottom as needed, and you're finished. Now what Formula B does, it moves these 3 cubes around. These 2 stay in relation to each other over here, and this one moves over here, which has the visual effect of switching just two staying and switching just 2 edges. You can never switch just 2 pieces. You're always moving 3 pieces around. So that's what Formula B does. So this one's done. I didn't do the 3x3. Okay, go to the 4x4. Yellow is content. Yellow's happy with itself. And we look at the corners. Green, yellow does not equal, orange does not equal green. Red is the matching color. Faces away. Formula B for corners. Up, down, down. And again, see the yellows are the Formula B does not affect the bottom. And then or A to bring your whites back to the top, and then they'll be happy with each other. They will match to each other. And when the white is on top again, then we check the yellows, and yes, they're still happy. The whites are happy with each other. Whites are correct to each other. First 4 corners and second 4 corners. Rotate the top so top and bottom match, and your corners are done. B, matching color facing away. Formula B. Formula A to bring your active color back to the top, keeping the cube stable. Changing the cube you're working on by rotating the top row. And now they're correct to each other, and we're done. So when it's a 2x2, doing just the corners, your cube is complete. When it's a larger cube, doing those corners dictates what color each face is going to be, because we used to work around the center. That became old when the larger cubes came about, but we didn't change our practice. We still work around the center, which I'm changing. So if you have an odd number cube, now's a good time to set your absolute center, because you don't have anything else to interfere with it. But if you do already have the edges done, because someone picked up your cube and did boxes for you, you can move the absolute center using Formula A. Just treat that the center row and the center column, Formula A again, move the piece away, move the space it wants to be down, move the piece in the space back in, and move the piece into the space and the piece in the space back up again. And so that's how you can set your cube. We can't do that for the oblique, for any corner that's not an absolute center, any center that's not an absolute center. We can't make sure that layer is correct until we get, because we don't know. The fact we can only tell by whether we run into a parity or not. And if we run into a parity, it was not correct, and so a parity is always caused by the same thing. The center slice is a quarter turn off. Correct that center slice, and your parity has disappeared. Poof. Which, in my humble opinion, means that is easier than memorizing and the parity algorithms or algorithms, because parity can look like different things, but it's always caused by the same thing. So because I do the centers last, when parity shows up on the edge, I just do a single quarter turn, and that's done. If you've already done your centers, if you've worked the reduction method doing centers out, then when you make that single quarter turn, you have to reset your centers. But that's still easier than memorizing a parity algorithm, in my opinion. So that's it. The corners are now correct to each other. Not over here. Okay, the yellows are correct, but oh, good, I have one of these. Didn't have to create it. I had one already. And here's an example of where none of the sides match, which happens probably I don't know the probability of it. But the yellows are happy, and the whites are on top, but the sides don't match, so it doesn't matter which way you hold it. You're going to do formula B. And bring A to the top. Use A to bring the white back to the top. And when I finish this 6 out of A's, I will have one side that matches because that's the progression. So you start off with no sides that match, you do B and A, and then you end up with one side that matches. And then you start with one side that matches, you do B and A, and you end up with all of them that match. And again, there are faster and easier ways to do what I'm doing. But this formula is geared to non-cubers and first-time cubers, early cubers, because what this guarantees, you can pick up the cube and put it down solved. And if you want to learn what all the algorithms do, it's easier to learn what they do by doing it to a solved cube. So if you have a solved cube to begin with, then you can do the algorithm you're trying to learn, look at it, and see what it did. So it's easier to have. It's easier if you can start with a solved cube. And this allows you to do that. This allows you to pick up your cube and put it down solved. Okay, so the corners are done on all of these. So you take a survey. Good morning, you guys. Do you want me to keep working on my cube, or does anyone want to chat with me? Anyone want to race with me? Anyone want to ask me any questions? Tell me about their day. Tell me where you're viewing from. That would be fun. Or I can just keep playing with my cubes. But I want to give you guys a chance to ask questions without feeling like you're interrupting me. So, blanket statement. I love to back and forth more than I love to monologue. So do feel free to interrupt me if you have any questions or comments, or you want to tell me about your day or the name of your kitty cat. So the corners are done. I'm taking a break. Formula B, the ABCube method also works on works on every complexity Rubik's Cube, and this is the only banded one I've tried it with. This is a 3x3x9, which is basically a 9x9 with some banding. So formula A and B will solve this as well. The adaptation that you need to do is when you're working on the 9 side. The formula B is back and forth with moves in the middle, and you can't do that with formula B. So you have to adapt formula B slightly, so every horizontal is 2 rope moves instead of 1 move, and then formula A and B will solve the rest of this cube. So you get the 3x3 part of it done correctly, and then when you get to the 9 by side, formula B does a bunch of things. Formula B affects the centers and the edges. Does a lot of things. Excuse me. Apologize. Okay, so just as I said, it's easier to see what an algorithm does if you can start it with a solved cube. I didn't have that with my 3x9 scrambled. I didn't have a solved cube. Then I realized I did. I picked up a large cube that I had and pretended I could not move the yellow sides, and figured out how to adapt formula B, and then I applied formula B to the solved cube so I could see what it did. And what it does is up, up, down, down, what I can see is that it does something to the centers, but just the front centers, not the other centers. It switches these two edges into a pseudo parity, and it switches these two edges. So since it does a lot of things on the right side, only one thing on the left, I worked on the edges, just setting the edge pieces one piece at a time. And then I saw that if you do it again, those edge pieces go back to the way they were, and you can work with just the centers. So I do the edge pieces one piece at a time. When the edges are done, then to work on the centers, I simply do it Formula B twice, be adapted twice instead of once. So I'm not affecting the centers because they flip and then they flip back again. So with that, I was able to figure out how to solve my 3x3. And yesterday, like I said, I got distracted because I looked at my centers while I was working on my edges. I got confused with which columns to move. All right. Okay, so corners are done. The next step is to do the opposite edges. And if I was a newbie, I've just been training my eyes to look for the white and yellow, so I'm going to keep looking for the white and yellow as I move on to the next step. And the corners being done, the next step is to set the edges between the corners. I do the edges before I do the centers for several reasons. One is because if the edges are done, it keeps me visual clues on which columns I'm on if I'm working with large cubes and have a habit of getting distracted. So with the edges are done, then when I'm working on the centers, the edges are there to visually remind me where I'm at, which doesn't happen if I do the other way around. Also, if I do the centers last, then if I did have a parity and corrected it with a single quarter turn, I don't have to redo the centers because I did them first. It doesn't take any more time to do the centers at the end than it does at the beginning. So the next thing I'm doing, which is a long way of saying the next thing I'm doing, is the opposite edges. Because Formula B, if you apply it to the outside edges, moves corners around. But Formula B can be applied to different columns, and depending on which two columns you use, different things happen. You don't have to memorize which two columns do what. You just have to pick a cubie that is not where it wants to be. So yellow and white are left and right, as dictated by my corners. I find a piece that's yellow or white in the middle being anywhere in between the outside columns, which for 3x3 is just one, but the bigger the cube is, the more you have to look at, more you have to work with. But each individual, rather than pairing up my edges and then placing them, that seems to me to be double effort. I just pick each cube as it comes up and throw it where it wants to be, and they pair themselves up. Also, if you do pair your edges up before you place them, you have a higher probability of getting a parity because you're treating them as one piece when they are two individual pieces, and so like I said, a parity is more likely to appear. So yellow and white are left and right. Find a piece that needs to move to the left or right, and I'm treating my corners as a unit now because they're paired up. So I'm going to bring the corners together to match the front. Okay. And then, so the corners match the front. The top color is white, so this blue and white piece is going to land somewhere above the blue and white and something corner, not above the blue and yellow something corner. So it's going in this direction. So top row, first column is going to be where it's landing. Second column is going to be where it is right now. I start by moving away from the action so I can get this in place to make that effective. So I move it away, first up, back, second up, away, down, back, down. Okay, and this piece is placed. Here's another piece, but it's white or yellow. My yellow is on the front. I want it to be on top, so I flip the cube, but yellow and white are still left and right in some orientation. Make the corners match the front, determine which direction it's going, up, second up, down, second down. Okay, so this is from using Formula B to place the outside columns. And you do that until all the white and yellow in the middle are done. And then you assess to see what the sides look like. So here's a blue, here's a yellow. The corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Now, since when I'm working on the opposite edges, you notice that I can move the centers freely at this stage of the game in order to make the corners match the front, etc. So I can look at this other column to see whether it has the other blue and yellow just happens to be where I can place it, where I can pair them up. And you know, a third of the time it does, most of the time it doesn't. So, this is going to land here, but this yellow also wants to come out. So if I place this garbage piece in, this will bring this not only will this place correctly, but this one will displace this yellow, so it's easier for me to work with when it's in the middle. So I'm going to move both of these as one. Don't have to though, that's just a shortcut. Here's another yellow, corners to match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Quick look to see whether there's anything else advantageous. There's not, so I will place these up, up, down, down, and this is placed. Here's a yellow, flip the cube so it's on top. Corners match the front, and it's lather, rinse, repeat. It's the same thing over and over again. Yes, it's boring, but it's also relaxing. So this piece wants to move here, away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. Okay? And the reason why pairing up your cubes is more likely to cause a parity is because when you treat them, the cubes can move freely, but once you've paired them up, then you've paired up those two slices, and so they're less likely to find the equilibrium if they're not correct, because you're forcing them to stay the same. So this piece wants to go over here. Both of these pieces want to move out. Is there another piece that's advantageous? No. So I'll throw a garbage piece down in here. Up, up, down, down, and we just keep doing this until for as long as there's any yellows or whites in the middle. Okay. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up, away, down, in, down. And see, they pair themselves up. We don't have to pair them up first. Corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Up, up, down, down. Okay. Another corners match the front. It's going in the white direction. Is there other yellow orange in here? No, that's okay. So up, up, down, down. Corners match the front. This direction. Up, up, down, down. Here's a yellow. Flip it. Yellow, as long as yellow and white are left and right. Doesn't matter which one is which. So corners match the front. It's going in the yellow direction. Up, up, down, down. Active color on top. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in this direction. Up, up, down, down. Hello, kitty. Hello, Fluffer. You're very beautiful. Hi. Hi. Oh, are you so pretty? Are you just so pretty? Are you so pretty? Kitty. Kitty, kitty. Okay. All right. I'm working. Go away. Shoo, shoo, shoo. Good job. Okay. Another white. Corners match the front. Slide up, slide down, slide down. Do we have any other pet owners out there? Okay. Corners match the front. It's Hi, thank you for joining us. If you've just joined me, I am Sunshine. I created the ABCube method for solving Rubik's Cube. It's fun for me. And this is that. If you have any questions, please feel free to chat me or email me, and I'm happy to answer. But in the meantime, I'm working on the opposite edges. The corners are done. I'm working on the opposite edges, which is yellow and white. And so holding the cube, so yellow and white are left and right, I find any yellow or white in the middle areas and line them up and place them one at a time. Because I don't see a difference in, the only difference I see between finding a cube and pairing them up and then placing them correctly when you're in the 3x3 phase versus finding a cube and placing it and then finding another cube and placing it is that I don't spend time looking for a particular cube. I just work with what I see, throw it in its direction, and move on. So that seems to me to be less complicated than pairing up edges. And it seems to me that there's fewer parities when I do it this way. So I look, yellow and white are left and right. I'm looking in the middle for yellow and white. I don't see any because I'm not getting confused by my centers. I'm only looking at edges. And so now I assess. I look at the white and yellow sides to see if they look correct. And the white does, and the yellow does. Sometimes I have pieces in here that I did not get displaced as I was working on them. So like for example, if this piece is here and this piece is here, or this piece is here, or whatever, if there's a piece that is not correctly placed, I just throw a garbage piece into that spot, which brings it to the middle where I can place it. And then I keep going until there's no more yellow or whites again. So yellow and white opposite edges are done. And the next step, we've established that Formula B moves the piece from the top front to the side front, and so we're going to keep doing that as we work on our side edges now. So white goes face down because I like yellow's my favorite color. That's the only reason why. And then I look at the sides to see if they're correct. None of those are correct. So anyway, it doesn't matter how many are correct. If one of them is not correct, like this one, then I use Formula B to displace this piece out up to the top where it can be placed correctly. Now my white is face down for the rest of forever until all of the edges are placed correctly. So I'm going to displace a piece here, a yellow piece down into this spot, and then I'm going to work with the non-yellow pieces. I'm going to ignore the rest of the top now, except for the pieces I want to place. And so I'm going to ignore I work with the non-yellow pieces until the yellow comes back to the top. So I'm going to apply Formula B to this cube. So start by moving away, up, in, and this tells me which column I'm in. So second up, down, down, and I have displaced a yellow. It will find its way back to the top eventually. In the meantime, this yellow is going to keep going bippity-boppity back and forth until the other yellow comes back to the top. So I'm ignoring the top, everything, and ignoring all the yellow now. It had its turn, we're ignoring it now. And so I'm working white face down. I'm working with the pieces that are not yellow on top. And when you do one column at a time, that's one at a time. So holding the top row, I'm going to move the rest of the cube so the corners match the front. Now this is the time to line up your centerpiece if you can. So bring the corners to match the front, and then determine its direction. It's blue and orange, so it's going to land above the blue and orange something corner, not above the blue and red something corner. So it's going in this direction. So first column, second column. Start by moving away. Up, up, down, down, and this is placed. And the piece back on top is what I'm going to look at, because I'm ignoring all the yellows until the yellow comes back to the top. So bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the blue direction. Slide up, slide up, slide down, and that is placed. And then look for the piece on top. Oh, and the yellow finds its way back to the top. When yellow finds its way back to the top, then we assess. Are the sides all correct? Some of them are, some of them are not. These ones are correct. These ones are not. So I'm going to displace a yellow again. And since I have the option, I'm going to displace one of my incorrect yellows. So I'm going to displace this into an incorrect spot into a spot where there's an incorrect piece. Up, up, down, down, and then with the white still on the bottom, I'm then going to work on this piece. Okay, hold the top row, bring the corners to match the front. We're only looking at the bottom corners now because we're ignoring the top. Corners match the front. It's going in the orange direction, so first column, second column, start by moving away. Up, up, down, down. Okay, and find a piece on top that's not yellow, which will always be on the back where I just placed it. Corners match the front. It's going in the red side. Away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. Okay, and that is placed above where it wants to be. Find the piece on top that's not yellow. You don't have a daughter's not Lisa. 10 points to whoever can tell me what that movie's from. What movie that line is from. So we're looking for the piece on top that's not yellow. Corners match the front. It's going to the red side. Away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. And as I mentioned, my white edges are there to keep me on track of which columns I'm working on. As they come up, and I have to go back down again because it's mathematical 0. So bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the orange direction. Okay. Away, up, back, second up, back down. Now if someone talked to me and I got confused, I'm like, which way am I going? I have to line up the whites to go back down again. So they're there to keep you from getting confused as you're working. And now my yellow has come back to the, no it hasn't. Alright, here's another not yellow. Corners match the front. It's going in this direction. Away, up, in, up. Away, down, in, down. And now the yellow has made it to the top. So let's assess. These ones are correct, these ones are correct, these ones are correct, these ones are correct. So there's only 2 edge pieces that are not correct. So it looks like a parity, but a parity is a lie. You never have a parity. You can have what looks like a parity. If there's 2 pieces, if there's always 3 pieces to move. If it looks like only 2 pieces, then the third piece that you do not see is the slice that you do not the slice that you do not see. Now, if I want to keep you with my yellow on top because I'm a newbie and I don't want to get confused, I will displace this piece down, and where it lands is the layer that I'm going to twist. But if I'm color neutral and want to say, okay, blue is my top now, then where these two, this row that holds this parity is a quarter turn off. If I rotate this row a quarter turn in either direction, one of those two that looks like it was incorrect is now in place, and we have 3 that can be moved. And you know what? You have algorithms that will move these 3. I'm going to do it with Formula B though. So looking for a piece on top that's not blue. Bring the corners to match the front. It's going in the white direction. Up, up, down, down. Corners match the front. It's going in the white direction. Up, up, down, down. Yellow corners match the front. It's going in the orange direction. Up, up, down, down. And when the top color comes back to the top, the parity has disappeared. Poof, all gone. Okay, so you can solve a parity is just a quarter turn. Center is a quarter turn off. Rotate that center, and 1/4 turn either direction, doesn't matter, and your parity is dissolved. It's gone. You can still use your parity algorithms if you want to do, if they're fun, but I don't teach them to newbies, and they can solve the cubes without them. So the cage is done. All that's left is the centers. I will quickly demonstrate how that's done. So you just pick a piece that's incorrect, hold it on the front face, and you want to throw it to the top. So line that. So this piece will land either bring down the green or the blue or the green or the white. So the first horizontal move is to line that up so it's advantageous, and then you follow the piece that you're moving. This determines what the columns are. So it goes up, slide it into a different column, and that's my second column. and then I reverse. And again, my edges are there to keep me honest on which things I'm doing. So here's a green. I can bring down the red or the white, so let's line up the white. Okay, so that's my first horizontal, and then I go up, slide to a different column. Now because it's a diagonal, if I go this way and this up, it's still the same column, so that's going to mess you up. So second column, and then down and down, and your edges are there, so you don't get confused as to which things you're doing. Here's a red. Okay, on the red I can bring down the yellow, the orange, or the green. Both of them, all of them are advantageous. Green is more so. So up, slide to a different column, second up, reverse, down, set the top, and pick another one. Okay, here's a red. I'm going to line up the orange to bring it down, up, slide to a different column, second up, and then there's my edges are there telling me which columns I'm using. So down, down, set the top, pick another piece. Here's a red. Bring down the yellow, up, down, and set the top. Okay, just find a piece that is not where you want it to be. Hold it on the front face, line it up on the top. I can bring down yellow or an orange. I don't want to bring down opposite color, so I'll bring down the orange. So I go up, down, down. Okay, let's move this yellow. Okay, I can bring down the blue or the orange, so we'll do with orange again. Up, down, down. Do not bite my foot! Okay, and then here's the orange. We can do, for the orange, we can bring down the blue or the white. So up. Hi, kitty. Up. Hi. I'm sorry. Are you being so patient or impatient with me? Hello? Hi, sweetie. Hi. Hi, kitty. Oh, so sweet. Okay, go. Shoo. Okay. All right. Here's a blue. I can bring down a green or a yellow. Let's bring down the yellow. Up, slide, down, slide, down. Okay. And the screen is going to bounce twice. So let's start by moving a blue into that spot. Okay. So up, down, down, and follow through on that green. I don't want to because that's going to bring down a white. So let me work this white first. So up, down, down, and now orange into the yellow, up. Now it looks like I'm moving two pieces around, and like I said, you never move two pieces around. So you're not really moving two pieces around, you're moving three, but two of them are the same color, so it looks like you're moving two. Okay, to demonstrate on this last step here, this yellow is going to go, oh stick, silly. This yellow is going to go up to this spot right here, but this green is not going to come down to here. It's going to come down over here. So up, down, down, set the top. So these three pieces moved. It looks like two, but you're always moving three pieces. Okay, so that's Formula A, but I am going to show you how you can do shortcuts. That's Formula A and B. This one, I said that Formula A you can use for one complete face, but only if it's the first face because it messes up. A always affects all six sides. So let's show you what to do. I haven't done the opposite edges yet, so I'm going to do the entire white with just Formula A, if I can, most of Formula A. Start by finding a piece that's on the front that wants to be on top. This is white and blue. It wants to land between the white and blue over here, so this wants to be up there. So I'm going to, this piece, formula A, you put it under where it wants to be, then you move it away, you move the space down, you move the piece then into the space, and the piece in the space back up. Okay, so you can do it on edges. Okay, this one wants to land, let's see, let's move it under where it wants to be. So it's white and orange, it wants to be on the white and orange side, so it wants to be up here. So I move it away, I move this piece down, move the piece in the space in, and the piece back, move the piece into the space, piece in the space back up again. So here's a green, here's a white and green edge piece. Okay, I move it under where it wants to be. Okay, it wants to be right here. So I move it away, move the piece down, space down, move the piece into the space, and the piece in the space back up again. Okay. Now, since formula A is 4 moves as opposed to being 8 moves, theoretically, if I do the entire first face with formula A, I've done fewer moves, and so theoretically it's a faster solve. Move it out, move the piece down, space down, move the piece into the space, and the piece in the space back up again. Here's another one. Okay. Move it under where it wants to be. It wants to be up here. So out, down, in. Let's move these ones out while we can. And really, and then up. Okay. So here's a blue and white. It's under where it wants to be. It wants to be up here. So out, down, in, up. Okay. Here's a white and green. Under where it wants to be, move it out, space down, piece into the space, piece in the space up. 4 moves for formula A. Here's a white and blue. Put it under where it wants to be. Wants to be right there. So I move the piece away, move the space down, piece into the space, and the piece in the space back up again. Okay. Here's a white and red. Bring it under where it wants to be. Out, down, in, up. Okay. Here's another white. There's a white to a blue. It's under where it wants to be because it wants to go right there. So out, down, in, up. There's another one. Same thing. Out, down, in, up. Okay. Looking for another. Here's a white and red. Put it under where it wants to be. Notice I'm keeping my corners done. Out, down, in, up. Okay. Okay, don't see any more right now. Let's look at the bottom. Okay, here's a white and red. It's under where it wants to be. It wants to be up here. So I move it out. I move the column down. Move the piece into the space. And before I move the piece in space back up, I'm going to look and see whether any of the whites happen to be in an advantageous place. So I'm going to 1, 2, 3 times before you get back to start. So that one lined that up. 1, 2, 3. That one lined that up. So that's a couple that I did without knowing they were there. So yay me. Here is 2, 3, 4. Okay, we've got some more edge pieces here where it wants to be because it wants to be here. So it doesn't line up. So I'm going to use formula B to bring this to the front where I can then place it. Okay, so now it's on the front. I can bring it under where it wants to be. It wants to be right there. So I'm going to work that piece as well. So I move it out, down, move it in, and see if there's anything else that's advantageous before I move it back up again. There's 1, 2, 3. Okay, so I got most of them in. There's another one. Okay. This piece, white's on the bottom. I want to bring it to the side so I can place it better. So I'm going to do a Formula B to move it to the front. Formula B only moves 3 pieces, so it doesn't mess up anything that I've already done. And so now, bring it under where it wants to be. Okay. Move it out, down, in, and before I go up, let's see if anything here is magically 1, 2, 3. One of them lined up. Okay, so there's that. Here's another red. Here's another white piece. It's under the one once. I move it under the red, so it wants to be here. So out, down, in, up. Okay. We've got 2 whites that need to be flipped. I know how to do those, but let's move them out, down to the side, and back. And now it's under here. So out, up. And let's see if this one lines up. 1, 2, 3. It does not. Okay. Okay. This one. Oh, let's just move it down to the bottom. Okay. And so now it's under where it wants to be. So I go out, down, I go in. See if anything else magically lines up. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2, 3. Well, one thing magically lined up, so it's worth trying. And then set the corners again. So now my edges are done for the white. I can still use Formula A for the rest of the things. Here is this piece. Put it under where it wants to be, so it wants to land here. So I go out, down, in, and see whether anything happens to magically line up for these ones. 1, 2, 3. It did not, but that's okay. Okay, find another piece. This piece will land in this spot where there's already a white. So let's turn it so let's go to a different side. So now it will land on this green, where this green is. So I go out, down, in, up. Okay, here's a white. Okay, I want to put it under where it's advantageous, like so. Out, down, in, up. Okay, here's another white. Okay, bring it under where it's advantageous. Bring it out, down, in. Let's see if this one magically works. 1, 2, 3. Nope, but sometimes they do. Okay, here's another white. Bring it under something advantageous. Out, down, in. Before I go up, let me just see whether these ones line up with anything. 1, 2, 3. They don't. Up. And then here's another white. It's going to land right here. So go under where that's advantageous. And so now it's going to land right here. So out, down, in, up. Okay. Looking for more whites. Here's a white. Under advantageous, out, down, in, up. The other ones are on the bottom, so I can't really do Formula A to move these ones up unless I do Formula B to move them out into place first, which I can do. So line this up with that yellow, up, slide, down, and now I can put this piece under an advantageous spot and out, down, in, up. Okay, same with this one. Let's land up with this yellow, up, down, down. Okay, and here's a white under an advantageous spot, out, down, in, up. So this is how you can do shortcuts. Okay, line this white up with something that's advantageous to bring down. Up, down, down. And offset one of them. Okay, and then line it up. Out, down, in, up. Okay, so that's how you can use Formula A as a shortcut for one face, but only one face. We'll still need to do Formula B to place the yellow edges, because any more Formula A's was going to affect all the sides. Hi, Wipey! I'm sorry I got distracted. I wasn't watching the chat. Thank you for joining me. How are you today? Do you have any wonderful fun plans for this weekend? Or what are you going to go do that's fun? If you don't have an answer, make one up. What are you going to go do today that's fun? He's away from the keyboard. They are away from the keyboard. Okay, so that's pretty much, that's how to do Formula A and Formula B and how to use A for shortcuts. That's really, I got nothing more for you guys. Let me know if anyone wants me to create a tutorial for the minxes. Let me know and I shall work on doing that. Also, you guys, if any of you are Zoomers, if any of you are Twixer, if any of you Twitch like me, what do you use to edit your streams? I've been told I need to edit my streams rather than just uploading all of the boring stuff. So, let me know what's fun and easy and free to do that, because I have to learn. I don't know things. So let me know what you guys use. Tell me what, so that I can do better. I want to do better. And I will be back. I'll be back next time. Thanks for joining me. Appreciate you guys. Bye.